You look to your friends.
There's only a couple guys in the whole world that make me love pro wrestling, and you're one of them.
You know, all the bad shit you've heard about us, it's all true. But another thing that's true is we love professional wrestling, and that's why we're here. I'm not sports entertainment anymore.
Talk to him, kid.
This is a new beginning, and it starts tonight.
A new day is dawning for DX.
Hey, X-Pac 12360 fans, we are back. I'm Christy Olsen here with the one and only Sean X-Pac Waltman. We are so excited to break down the week's news with you. We are going to be chatting with our special guest, Justin Credible, today. It's going to be a good one. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm just trying to match the energy that you have right now.
How was that?
Amazing.
That was my instruction.
That was great.
All right.
Plus, I get, every time I hear the intro, I get to hear my best friends putting me over. Tell me how, talking about how great I am. So
Not a bad way to start the day.
yeah.
Well,
Keep
actually,
hearing that enough, and
well, you need a little boost today, or I would think, because you came hobbling in here a little bit.
Oh,
I
big
hate to
deal.
blow you up right away, but we got to talk about this. What happened in Chile this weekend?
I broke my foot.
Ah, no big deal, right?
Pretty much no big deal.
You're such a pro.
That's just, it's a broken foot.
Well, what
What are you
happened?
gonna? There's nothing you can do about it. Just let it heal.
Okay.
Well, ideally let it heal unless you have a match on Saturday in Ransom, West Virginia.
Well, let's go back to Chile first. I know you had a good time despite the broken foot. What happened exactly, or how was the match?
It was good. The thing is I didn't know what to expect when I went down there. Because I didn't really know much about Chile in general. Mm-hmm. The only thing I knew about Chile was that, about 30 years ago they had a dictator named General Pinochet, which that was about the extent of my knowledge. And so I really didn't know anything about any kind of wrestling, lucha libre, whatever you want to call it. I didn't know anything about their native wrestling, and I was I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Pleasantly surprised. And one of the guys that was one of my opponents, who they have, they're using as a villain, as a heel down there. His name is Ariel Levy, and he's I think he's the biggest movie star in Chile.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that name before.
Yeah. Matter of fact, excuse me. Before I left, we shot an angle where he beat me up in the parking lot, and he was in this movie called Green Inferno with Eli Roth.
Oh, that was a big one.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a big one or not.
Critically acclaimed, at least.
But then he throws the movie down on my chest, and he's like, "Enjoy my movie, cabron," or what? I forget exactly what he said. Some expletive.
Do you coach those guys? Excuse me, I'm doing it now. Through something like that?
Oh, yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
the vet. Do they ask you for advice?
Yes. Well, actually, the whole thing was my idea because I didn't realize what a big star this guy was and how much potential he had until we're actually in the middle of the match. And I see him make his entrance, and the people go crazy for him. Just because he might not technically be as good as some of the other guys,
Mm-hmm.
but he had something that you can't teach. You can teach him how to wrestle. You can't teach him to be a natural born star like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just decided, and we beat him in the match. Cleanly. We beat him cleanly. And afterwards, I'm going, why did we beat him? He's your, top guy. And, you should be protecting him.
Well, who's we, if you don't mind my asking?
Myself, a guy named Eddie Vergara,
Okay.
who was their champion down there, who is a babyface, supposed to be a babyface, but works like a heel. And my opponent is a heel, but the people will like him as a babyface. So
I
it's
guess
little bit
that's
backwards.
what you learned about the Chile style, huh?
Well,
those
about
lines
that
are blurred a little bit?
Well, just about that particular situation. But anyways, I realized the guy was okay, there's something we call for the people that don't know the terminology of our industry. When a heel loses,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times what we'll do is we'll get our heat back the next night or that night right after the match. The term "get his heat back" is he might have lost, but then he beats the shit out of you. Or he jumps you in the parking lot.
Throws his movie on your chest.
I wanted him to get his heat back before I left Chile. And so he could take credit for breaking my leg and kicking me out of, running me out of Chile.
That's really cool, because I'm guessing when they book someone like you for something like that, all you have to do is go in, do your match, get paid, and leave.
Sure.
It's not your responsibility to put anyone over or to make sure that you leave him with some heat,
Right.
but you're still concerned about that.
Yeah, because when I leave, those guys and ladies all still have to be there to try to continue to build that company. And they have a good opportunity there. It's virgin territory, pretty much, as a lot of us like to use that term.
Well, so I gotta know, I'm harping on this foot, but I'm just so curious. Did you continue the match, or what went down exactly?
Oh, you know what? I think I might stop telling guys how to take my kick and just kick them, because I tell them, I'll say, put a hand up, right? And so am I giving away too many trade secrets here?
No, this is the juice. This is the good stuff.
If Steve Austin is listening, hey, I'm sorry if I'm giving away too many trade secrets. But anyways, so, I'm trying to protect these guys, because when my foot comes at you, I'm getting a little long in the tooth, but my feet still work really good. And so the guy he even told the promoter afterwards, he goes, I was just scared. And so he put, he blocked it like you would really block a high kick. And man, I kicked him right in the elbow, and then I was done. And
Immediately, huh?
Yeah, and I didn't even realize, I knew it hurt, and all that, but with the adrenaline still going, you don't
really feel it?
Yeah, I didn't. Probably about 3-4 hours later, after sushi, I had to be carried out of the place.
You got to get your
because I
sushi in
couldn't walk.
first.
Of course.
You got priorities.
Chilean sushi is pretty damn good. You know what, though? Here's the thing. You ever go to the restaurant and you see on the menu Chilean sea bass?
Yes.
Right? It's on every menu. So I go down there and I'm telling everybody, I'm like, so what's up with the Chilean sea bass? And they're like, huh? What's that? And I'm like, I knew it. I knew it was bullshit. I knew it. It's just like people in Australia don't drink Fosters.
Apparently the Chile thing is just a gimmick for the sea bass.
Yes. Damn it.
I love it. Oh. Well, how were those fans to you down there?
Oh my God, they're awesome. The place was sold out, and the national media covered it a lot. And the guys are new at promoting, though, and so they had a press conference after the match, but they forgot to have me come out and be part of the press conference. Oh, no. And then they told me later, oh yeah, we had this press conference, and I'm going, you had a press conference? Really? Where was I?
Oopsie.
And they go, oh, we should have had you in the press conference, right? I'm like, no, but they were great. They're gonna do fantastic.
That's cool. And so you're still gonna head into your gig next weekend?
Of course.
Despite the injury? Man.
Here's the thing.
Respect that, man.
All right, when a promoter books you and is promoting you for 3, 4, 5 months, whatever the case may be, okay, and then 4 days out from the show, you say, I'm sorry, I can't make it, I got a broken foot. Boy, that is like the one of the worst things you can do to a promoter. Mm-hmm. And it's not my fault. A lot of people would understand that I wouldn't show up, but I just don't operate like that. So I'm gonna go, and a lot of it is that people just want to see me.
That's right.
And
of
I'm
course
so
they do.
grateful for that.
Of course
so
they do.
Grateful.
Well, and the people can actually hear you as well on iTunes. Do you like that segue?
I do.
I gotta
great.
take this time to remind them that we are on YouTube and iTunes. We would love it if you would hit subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. Leave a little comment. Let us know what you think about the show. We love hearing from you, and we don't want you to miss a single episode. So please subscribe on iTunes. And on that note, I think maybe we could head into the X-Pac 1, 2, 360 news for the week.
And new little
X-Pac 1, 2, 3, 60
There it
Wrestling
is.
News.
That's my cue. Well, how about this headline, Sean? WWE signs 7 new talents from China to developmental contracts. This happened following the tryout, the 4-day tryout in Shanghai that happened in June. So WWE and Triple H have decided to sign 7 folks out of the 34 that they saw that day. And these guys are impressive. This was the first ever tryout in China. And they came across a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's major.
And I was telling you earlier, like the difference between a purple belt in Taekwondo or Karate and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. It's not even, I mean, the only thing that's the same is that they're both purple. One you get in a few months, one it takes years.
Yeah, so this guy is really accomplished, and he's just one of many. Another one of the candidates is 6'8", almost 7 feet tall. There's a female who owns her own fitness studio. We are really, really anxious to see what these folks are going to do. They will be reporting to the Performance Center in Orlando in Florida. But until then, of course, WWE is in Shanghai this weekend. They have an event where NXT's Bing Wang will be wrestling. So all of the 7 new signees will be there to support Bing Wang in Shanghai this weekend. So maybe we'll see him on the network.
Ben Wang,
Yeah.
That rolls up the tongue nicely, right? Ben Wang, Ben Wang.
Yeah.
I got 2 words for you, Ben Wang.
Hey, that's almost as good as an endorsement.
But, okay. All I can say about this is it's about damn time. Mm-hmm. China's only the biggest emerging market in the world. I think India's up there too, but they've already gone to India and recruited some talent from India. So China, I mean, they could just open up, like we were talking about earlier. They could have a China-specific wrestling company. There's 7 billion people there, and they're very nationalistic, very very much the Chinese pride. Japan's like that a lot, So that's why I was telling you before we came on air. No matter how big WWE is, there's still always going to be like a place like Mexico. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be that Mexican wrestling. There's always going to be that Japanese wrestling. Same could be said for China. Mm-hmm. But back to WWE being there, it couldn't make any more sense.
Right.
And then John Cena goes over there and just spits out a speech in perfect Mandarin. Like, come on.
How about that?
Wow. And then people want to ask, or if anybody still wants to question why he's the man. Come on. Unbelievable.
So you're giving some props to John Cena.
I'm always giving props to John Cena.
That's cool. That's cool. I think sometimes people think it's the cool thing to hate on him, but I'm a fan
It is,
too.
and he's cool with that.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to hate John Cena, hate away. But you got to recognize, the guy's phenomenal in the ring.
He definitely is.
And a phenomenal face for the company.
Mm-hmm. And
he's part of the reason why they're able to have these relationships with such big corporate sponsors like Coca-Cola or, these type of companies, mm-hmm. which weren't really, as great as the Attitude Era was, none of those companies were really lining up to jump on board back then.
you weren't on the box of the Wheaties or Fruity Pebbles back then?
No,
Oh,
Hanson's energy drink.
Well, I know John Cena has a little bulldog because Nikki's always Instagramming photos. So I'm sure he will be rocking some of this. Wait for the headline. Petmate releases WWE pet product collection. This makes me excited. I know you're a dog lover too. This is so cool. So there's going to be a new collection of WWE products available nationwide, including pet beds, collars, leashes, toys, featuring John Cena, The Rock, Steve Austin. They are on shelves around the country. You can also get it at PetSmart.com, Amazon, and Walmart.com. Amongst them, like the toys, there's a Mock Divas belt and a Money in the Bank briefcase, so you can play tug of war with your dog. This is just fun all around. I can't wait to get my little Bobo some of those.
Besides how cool it is, they are going to make so much money. No, people will spend way more money on their pets than they will their husband or wife.
Oh, that's for sure.
Even their kids sometimes.
Well, yeah. So watch Sean and I's Instagrams for photos of our dogs rocking those for sure.
We're gonna have some 12360 pet pet products too. Oh yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah. My little Chi-Chi looks good in green, so I'm down with that.
In green.
All right. Enough about our four-legged friends. I know we could talk about that all show. But we had mentioned John Cena as well, and he had kind of a scary moment with the Big Show on the WWE's recent trip to the Philippines. They were over there, and Big Show and John Cena were in a match. Big Show took to the ropes to do his little bounce like he usually does, and usually goes off without a hitch, but all 450 pounds of him caused the rope to give way, completely collapsing in the middle of their match. Now, WWE is attributing this to a defective ring, but these two guys did not miss a beat. Both of them just kept on going. John Cena picked up the Big Show and then pinned him for the win as if nothing had gone down.
So when we were talking about this earlier, I kind of had the impression that it was the top rope that broke. I don't know why, but I'm sure it was the second, right?
I think it was the second rope, yeah.
Okay. Well, regardless, it could have been every single rope.
Exactly.
And those guys would have figured out exactly what to do. They would have caught, like they did that night, call an audible in there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they were laying on the ground laughing their ass off.
That was probably the hardest part.
Oh, yeah.
To not laugh.
Sure. And they're both big-time pros. I mean, there's a reason they are where they are.
True that.
Yep.
As someone who's wrestled in so many different wrestling rings, Sean, do you prefer cable as ropes or actual rope as ropes?
That's a good question. I personally, I have no preference anymore. But when I used to try to do some, rope work, tricks, jumping to the ropes, the cable ropes are a little sturdier for that. And especially when it comes to the bigger rings, like a 20-foot ring, or actually any size ring, the cable ropes. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. You ever see like somebody do like Jericho do the lion salt?
Yes.
In the WWE ring?
Yes.
Well, he does it from the middle, but a lot of guys, when they do that, or when they do the catapult from the outside, jump up onto the ropes and...
A springboard?
Springboard, yeah. You'll see them not do it from the middle as much, just because the ropes are looser in the middle, the hemp rope. So that's where the cable comes in handy. But for me, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me one way or another. It used to be kind of a thing that down south, a lot of the rings had steel cable rope with like a garden hose or something like that over it.
Whoa.
And the southern rings mostly were wooden framed as well. WCW's rings were wood frame rings, and while the northern ones like WWE's was always metal, and still is. Don't know if anybody knew that or not, but now you do.
Now you know. Cue the rainbow. Well, one thing that the WWE Universe did not know about until told was that Vince McMahon suffered an injury recently while training that actually required surgery. People were kind of wondering where he was at for a while, but the big story here is that the WWE announced this and then literally said, oh, but he'll be back at work tomorrow. So they held off on telling us a little bit. I know Vince McMahon is notorious for training very, very hard. I'm sure he did not want everybody to know all about this, but we're glad to hear that he's all right and back at work.
He never sells anything. Okay. There was a time, well, first of all, a few months ago. This was a few months ago when he started missing work, right?
Yeah, but the surgery and injury were most recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, I had people like trying to figure out what was going on with Vince, hitting me up on Twitter, DMing me, do you know anything about Vince? And I'm like, no, nobody's going to know anything about Vince and what's going on until he
wants us to?
him to. Yes. And I'm going to go back to a story back during the Attitude Era. Vince loves to ride motorcycles. A lot of people don't know that. And he had a motorcycle that's called a Boss Hoss. And this motorcycle had a 350 cubic inch small block engine. Like that would be in a, in an old Vet or, an old Nova or, old muscle car. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what happened. I do know what happened. Somebody pulled out in front of him and he hit them, and he went flying over the bike, over the car. He went flying a long way, and he fractured his pelvis severely. And he was in excruciating pain. And I actually saw him, and I know he didn't want me to see him, but I actually saw him selling it a little bit when he didn't think anybody was looking. But he wouldn't even sit in a wheelchair when he came to work. He stood with a broken effing pelvis. Man. Yeah. And you couldn't tell, and there were no tells. You can usually look at somebody's eyes and tell what's going on. Mm-hmm. If they're in pain, if they're miserable, whatever the case. Not with that guy.
Man, that's just unbelievable.
Not if you know Vince.
Well, he's mildly involved in this last story I have for you too, and there's been a lot of chatter online about this. The big guy Ryback is legally changing his first name to Ryback. He says that he didn't own it, but that he created it and that he used it before his time with WWE. And so he's gone through the process submitting. You have to publish an announcement in a local newspaper and things like that. It hasn't been signed off on by a judge at this point, but it looks like it's close to having that happen. So he will be legally Ryback Allen Reeves as soon as he gets the approval on that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I have no problem with it. You'll hear people make fun. Like the Warrior changing his name to Warrior, and but really, man, whatever makes him happy. I honestly don't think I don't think WWE will fight that.
No.
Well, I mean, really, if you go about it that way, it's really not a lot anybody can do. Mm-hmm. And if it's that important, and people know him as Ryback. When he walks down the street, people aren't going to call him Skip Sheffield. Yeah, it's, hey, Ryback. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that is kind of his identity.
I'm wondering if more guys will follow suit after this, if this will become a trend.
I don't know. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
You're going to stick with Sean?
Me? Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about changing first name. Can you have a first name that has letters? Or numbers?
Numbers?
Yeah.
I feel like you probably can. I
feel like
you can. I know what you meant.
What's
Do
your
you want
name?
to be X-Pac?
My name is 123.
And Kid would be your middle name, right? 123 Kid Waltman. Very official.
Beautiful.
How do you feel about this, Christy? I know how much you love Ryback. Are you glad he didn't change it to the big guy?
I do. Well, I think anything that he needs to do to keep doing what he's doing, he's more determined to stay in the limelight and continue wrestling, and to also kind of change the way that things are done and the way that people see the business. And he really seems determined to do that. So I give him props for taking this step, and I don't think it'll be the last thing we see him do that'll make headlines as far as this kind of administrative stuff goes in the pro wrestling world.
And I think that at some point, you'll see him back in the WWE ring.
I hope so.
That's usually what happens.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's not like he has nothing to offer. Come on. Mm-hmm. There was different times where he was pretty over. I mean, he was really over.
Yeah, and really, I think kind of got himself over. Is that right?
At first, and I don't think it wasn't planned. It wasn't like somebody goes, hey, we want you to do this, and this will get you over. So he was doing something right.
Yeah. Well, now we got Nikki Bella's dog today, Ryback. We've kind of covered my wheelhouse. Right on. So I think that is the X-Pac 12360 news for the week. I'm Christy Olsen, your managing editor and chief correspondent of AfterBuzz TV's Pro Wrestling News Division, and we will be right back with a great interview with our special guest, Justin Credible. Stay tuned.
That was great.
and I'll never give that back. Oh, I know you hate that factor, but you ain't gotta look at me like that. I said you ain't gotta look at me like
Welcome back to X-Pac 12360. Joining us now, he made his debut in WWF as the Portuguese Man of War, going on to score titles as both a singles and tag team competitor. Oh yeah, and he joined Sean in that old WWE faction, the X-Factor. Plus, he was the first guy to start wearing those jean shorts in the ring way before John Cena. Please welcome to the show, Just Incredible.
What's going on, Paige?
What's going on, man?
ECW, former ECW heavyweight champion.
That's right.
I might add to that list.
Thank you, Christy, because I was going to have to say that.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly, hey, Peach, I'm sorry for everybody out there listening. I've known Just Incredible and I have been friends for over 2 decades, and so just like my friends call me Kid, a lot of his friends call him Peach. I do.
Yes.
So, Peach, dude, thank you so much for. It sucks that I have to have you on the show just so we can talk. Partly that's my fault though, because I suck. I suck on the phone.
Well, hey, this is better because now we all get to be a fly on the wall and hear what you guys have to say.
What's going on lately, man?
Not too much. I'm just trying to transition from being a pro wrestler to real life, and it's going good, but it's hard, man. It's hard. I saw the Jake Roberts documentary, and Jake said something really important on it. The one he did with Dallas Page.
Sure.
And he said when you work your whole life for your dreams and they actually come true, what do you do when they come to an end? Rock singers could sing till they're into their 70s. Look at the Stones. Actors could act. Athletes, and that's what we are. We're entertainers, but we're athletes. We have a shelf life, and there's other factors going into it. I mean, I'm 42 years young. It's not like that, but there's money to be made out there, but just not enough for a father of 3 to keep his head above water. My wife and I just decided that, you know what, I'll still sign autographs and do some, but right now for me it's time to just kind of look for something else. Or I could do the Terry Funk and come out of retirement 50 times. But
hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, remember Poughkeepsie?
Yeah.
When I worked, who was it? It was Lance and I worked with Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk, and you came out as a special surprise, and it was such a cool moment. And I think it was. I was almost positive it had to be Terry's last match, but I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't.
And
it wasn't.
And it was such a cool deal, man. You and I on the floor, and we're both in tears. It was such a heavy moment. Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was. And there's few guys like that around anymore, man.
Oh my God, that's why it was such an honor to be in there with Terry, and he did that helicopter, the helicopter spot with the ladder.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a finish, but I fed up one more time like a dumbass, and he came at me straight on, and I ended up with a dozen stitches. I still have.
He always.
What's that?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I have a permanent souvenir from Terry that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and I'm very grateful for.
Is that why the bandana?
Well, it's right above the bandana.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor had to shave some of my hair, and which, I'm a little sensitive when it comes to. I already lose enough hair as it is. I don't need the doctor shaving any of it. But you know something, Peach? It is a heavy thing, and that talking about the Jake documentary and talking about what happens when you live your dreams and and then it's over, man. You know what I found out? Got to keep on dreaming, man, and have new dreams.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at, and because I definitely, man, know what you're talking about, and I feel it every day. Like I have a broken foot right now from a show in Chile the other day, and you know, different things. You know, I'm not going to sit and bitch about my injuries, but it does really make you aware of that shelf life. You know?
Yeah, it does. It does. And you know, I always thought that our generation bridged the gap between the old and the new. I mean, you were one of the last guys to come from the territory days. So you were that hip young style when you were the 1-2, not even that, when you were the Lightning Kid in Global. You know, and you got that old school territory mentality. I've been through a territory or two up in Calgary. I did Memphis. And then, you know, it's like...
You worked for WWF before I did.
Yeah. You know, but it's like our time almost. I mean, you had you had an amazing run, both with DX, man, wow, and NWO. But you know, I felt like
hey, Peach, let's not discount your run either, man. Seriously, the ECW stuff was groundbreaking shit, man.
I hear you, but I just felt like we were always the young boys, and hell, the guys that said they would retire, you know, hell, Mark Undertaker was retiring in '97, right before I left the company, and he's still rocking it as hard as ever, you know.
Hey, even before that, Peach, when I first got there was talk about Taker's probably only got a few years left. They've been saying that Taker only has a few years left for 25 years, Peach.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
The guy's a freak. Were you there when Viscera crushed his orbital socket, and he had?
Yes, I was.
And he had the broken ribs, and we needed him so bad. I mean, business was on its ass, and we needed him on the road, and he was there for us. He was there with the flak jacket on, covering his ribs up, and like this Phantom of the Opera mask, protecting the eye socket. And he was out there every night, man, and you would never know it. He did everything he normally did in his matches.
Well, you guys must have been in situations like that too, where you were injured and kept going on anyway.
Sure, but I mean, here's the difference: is the whole company isn't depending on us as that main event.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, and he was one of our main draws, and like Sean said, those were the lean years. You know, very lean years for a lot of guys. So we really spread thin, and it was very difficult to lose a guy of his magnitude. So he's a one of a kind athlete. He's a one of a kind human being.
Unbelievable, man.
Stand up guy if there ever was one. Always treated me with respect. I don't have a negative story to say about Mark.
I can't think of one. I can't think of one anybody else like secondhand about Mark. I mean, not trying to sit here and blow smoke up Taker's ass, but I mean, he's just one of those guys. But you know, you were talking about just a little bit ago about the guys that were supposed to retire not retiring. Well, you know, that's really I figured it out, Vij, as I became one of those guys that people are waiting to retire. It's not for us to retire, it's for the young ones to put us out of our misery.
Oh.
It's just like the law of the jungle, man.
That's how you see it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these kids are so, God, they're all, you know, times are so different now. I mean, these guys are in such great shape, like everybody. You know, they don't, you know, we would, and I'm talking about strictly partying, but we'd go out and have a good time, you know, sit in the car, have a couple of beers in the back seat, or go to a hotel, and we'd just talk business. That's how you did business back then. You know, you'd go into the hotel room, you'd have dinner, and you'd talk about, well, that was good, that was not good, you know, well, we should try that. How about you try that?
Yeah.
And you did business in those car rides.
It was like
in those hotel bars.
It was like Kurt Hennig taught me when I first got there. Back then, all the important business was done in the bar after the show.
Yeah.
And that is really how it worked. That's how it worked. Because
you know what?
What's that?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No,
it should be like that.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, minus the people dying from drug overdoses and all that. That part I thought was, I think that part, if we could do that without having, all the casualties like that, it would be great, because so much good shit got accomplished, with guys socializing together after after the job was done. Because when you know how it is, Peach, when you really like somebody a lot, you go out there and you rock it with them, and you want to make them look good, and they want to make you look good.
Sure. Yeah, and then you earn a level of trust. And it's no different than going into a business meeting and you're a salesman. You earn that trust over dinner, over a handshake, over whatever it is. You earn that trust. And the more I trusted somebody, man, the more I could, like Tommy Dreamer and I, we did some serious stuff, man. And I trusted Tommy wholeheartedly. And Sabu the same way, Jerry Lynn especially. He's an amazing ECW performer out of Minneapolis.
And just one of the best in-ring performers ever. Yes, I agree. I would not be sitting here right now if it wasn't for Jerry Lynn.
You guys killed it down in Texas.
Texas, Minnesota, the Midwest. I seriously owe him and so many other people a ton. So I didn't get here on my own, people.
Go ahead. No, I was blessed enough to learn to meet and befriend guys like Kurt Henning and so many other great ones that kind of would just give you little snippets. And if you listened correctly, if you didn't listen, if you blew it off, then you missed the point.
Yeah,
but
sometimes you had to read between the lines.
5 minutes of his time in the locker room, you listen, man.
Sure.
One person that never gave me the time of day, which I was really disappointed in. Not that I disliked him, I just never got to know him, and I tried. Maybe I tried a little too hard. Was Bret Hart.
Ah, really?
I always tried to I'd always stay. Me and you were infamous for staying dressed till the end of the show. More you than me, but after that we wanted to watch the matches. Shit, I'd go to the hotel in my gear.
Yeah, me too.
Because I wanted to watch the show.
It's funny you say that, because I had Scott on 2 weeks ago, and he was laughing about just that.
Yeah. But I could never get Bret to open up to me. He wasn't mean or anything.
No, he was he's a different kind of guy. He's a different kind of guy. And it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for me. I knew so much about him and I don't know what happened, but we just clicked really well. No pun intended with the click thing, because he couldn't stand the rest of us, but somehow, for some reason, he liked me. But and I can imagine, especially when you look up to a guy like that, because I was a huge Bret Hart fan. So that bums me out to hear that.
Yeah, we got lost. 30-day tour. I don't think you were there. I have that infamous picture of us. It was my 22nd birthday. We're in Zurich, Switzerland. It's me, Hunter, Hogg, Henry Godwin, Kev, Scott. I still had hair, and we're doing the symbol gimmick and just drinking pina coladas in Zurich, Switzerland. And some fan took it for me. It's like my little birthday party they had on the last day of the tour.
Nice.
And
I know the picture. I saw it.
It was the coolest thing. And
I didn't know it was from Zurich, though. I thought that was like the Christmas party at Scott's house or something.
Oh, that was another one. Yeah, because I believe Hunter and I were staying at, God rest his soul, Joey Maggs' house in Atlanta. Because we were flying out. We did SmackDown, and we had a couple days off. We did SmackDown or Raw in Atlanta. And then we went over to overseas somewhere. I think somehow we ended up, me and Hunter, and I think Kev lived in Tampa at the time. Scott lived in Chiliota in the middle of nowhere.
Kev lived in Daytona.
And,
Kev either lived in Daytona or Phoenix or something back then.
Oh my God, dude! And then the stories I could tell you about that trip with Scott. Well, when I stayed with my wife, and I stayed down there.
Please do, Justin. Just pick one. We'll take anyone.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but all I know is my wife and I are at the beautiful beach house in Cocoa Beach at the time. We wake up. All I know is that he's the worst driver in the world, doing 90 miles an hour in the worst road in the world in Florida. And there's this old bearded guy sitting next to my wife. She's, passed out probably from drinking too much. I'm in the front seat, scared to death. And he's just, going on a rampage to probably, get something else. I don't know, man. And I wake up and there's some stripper in his room and him naked. And my wife goes up, oh, there's no coffee brewing. Good times.
Oh,
hey, at least Scott has a nice body.
When we were talking, when you were talking about, us traveling and stuff, like you can't see me right now, but I had this huge grin just from thinking about some of the stories of you and I traveling together that we're not going to talk about right now.
Oh, I can't get a little one out of you? No. Something juicy for the fans?
Oh, no.
Was it that rowdy? Was it really that crazy?
No, it wasn't crazy, but it was just, there were some pretty special times.
Us.
Yeah. And
I mean, I've cried to him like a baby, I've come to him with raw emotions. I think he's done the same.
Yes.
It was very, one thing I love about Sean is he's very real. It does not get any realer than him. He's highly intelligent, highly intellectual. He's very cerebral, and he loves this business. And if there's one person, if there's two people I give equal credit to in my career, is Sean Waltman and Scott Hall, for even not necessarily teaching me or molding me like, move sets or something, but just how to act, how to comport yourself in the locker room, how to deal with other people. Because I'm not going to lie, I've dealt with heavy bouts of depression, and I was one of those guys who'd walk around sometimes sulking. Not because I was upset. I was blessed to have a job with the WWE, whatever it was. But I had, and then they always, hey, don't do that, just lead me in the right direction. I was young.
Right.
I grew instead of college, I got WWF. Most of my adult life, I grew up in the WWF. If you really think about it.
You really did, Beach, because you're 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And when I showed up there, I wasn't old enough to drink yet, and you're 2 years younger than me. So that's crazy, man.
And you should have seen. I told you. I don't know if I told you this story. The Vince McMahon speech to me.
When
he takes me. Remember the old Lowell Memorial Auditorium.
Of course.
And if you've heard it, the fans will appreciate it. Vince McMahon is a very intimidating man.
Absolutely.
He's very big. He's in great shape. He's a man's man.
And it's very difficult.
PJ,
It's very difficult to go into a one-on-one meeting with Vince McMahon.
Oh, I'm sure.
You might have everything all in your head. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to stick to my guns on this, and tell him what happens, Peach.
It all comes out different, and you'll be happy about it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying. Finish the story. I'm sorry.
No, I was just, I was 19 years old. We were in Lowell, and I had just gotten through my match, and I was not under contract yet. But at the time, they were using me as a jobber, an extra, an enhancement talent, which was still great for me. I was working, you know. So he takes me out to the balcony, and it's nighttime. Show's starting to wind down. He's like talking, just rapping, and I'm like, "Why are you talking to me?" You know, like, you know, I barely said 2 words to you. And he points over to the American, because it's a war memorial, points over the American flag. He goes, "PJ, here in the World Wrestling Federation, we're much like this great country, the United States of America." Points to the flag. "We're the land of opportunity. Right now, young man, I want to give you an opportunity to join the WWF. What do you say to that?" What the hell do you say? I thought he was going to off me.
Let me think about it, Vince.
Yeah, let me think about my options.
All right.
You know.
Wow.
So what do you say to
surreal,
that?
you know?
Yeah, how did that
Because back
end?
then, you remember, there were no guaranteed deals.
Well, that
It
was
was
where,
all about opportunity.
Yeah, that was where the whole opportunity came. Because here in WWF,
right,
we give you the opportunity, and it's what you do with it. You make as much money
right,
as
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Justin, you're saying. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You kind of got that opportunity coming in as an enhancement talent, and that's something that WWE has been bringing back in the last few months since the brand split, really bringing in some local guys, and we actually saw the same one for the second time last night on SmackDown, named James Ellsworth. Do you think that there's room now for guys who come in that way to really make it into being a WWE superstar?
I think there's always a way to get noticed, and to go to Florida to train and to get into the Performance Center. I think they've done a phenomenal job. The only criticism I have of the way they do business, I mean, I watch. It's amazing. I don't watch Raw very much. I don't watch so much from the SmackDown very much, but I watch the network quite a bit because their documentary pieces, the stuff that they put together, their interviews with past wrestlers and stuff are amazingly well done. I mean, kudos to their work. They really do a great job. I think anything's possible. I think that you might find that person. It's also being at the right place at the right time. You know,
Exactly.
The reason they called me over was it was '94. They were doing the fake Undertaker, and they wanted somebody to just go to exit 9. Which is off 95 was where the office is, and just take bumps for Brian Lee, who's going to be dressed as the Undertaker for SummerSlam. There was going to be 2 Undertakers wrestling each other.
AKA,
and
we called him Faker Taker. That was our name for him.
Right. And me, Mark, and Brian spent the whole week together. And the old man and Pat Patterson came down the Friday night. So I was supposed to work with him Monday live on Raw. So they came down Friday night to see like the final dress rehearsal, so to speak. And Pat pulled me aside, started asking me all these questions, and brought Vince over, and I guess I made a very good impression, and the rest, was history. But one thing I don't like is just how much these kids, I mean, they work their butts off, man. They're amazing. I just hate how choreographed everything is. You'll never get a match like a Flair Steamboat calling every single thing in the ring. I agree for the intricate spots. Like, I worked with Jerry Lynn. Jerry liked to do a lot of spots, and that's cool, and they were necessary. But we could also, go outside the ring and, back and forth and call it and move and put a boot up or drop, I just miss it's no less than being a great actor. The big guys can do it. Hunter can do it. The other more famous wrestlers can do it. The Pacinos and the De Niros can do it. But the younger guys kind of got to state a script, and I sometimes see them fumbling around because they're trying to remember word for word. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to just keep their product to a consistent, what they want. But I would like to see a little more loose environment with that, and just allow guys to go out there and just wrestle. you know, just really wrestle. And I know TV is hard, but hell, we used to do it on TV all the time.
Always.
Man. The match you and Brett had on Raw, still one of the best matches I'd seen.
Oh, well, thanks,
you guys
man.
remember that? It was in Poughkeepsie, I believe.
No, it was in Bushkill, you know, up there in the Poconos.
Bushkill, yeah.
Remember that? There was like a warehouse. I mean, the building looked like shit, but you know how Vince's production is. He could make a shed look like Madison Square Garden.
you guys killed it, man.
Thanks.
And don't tell me you guys planned every single spot.
No, but there was a lot of that stuff that we did have to go over, Peach, just because, you know, I mean, when you're diving off the top to the floor and things like that, it's
sure, of course.
So there was a few things, but I just followed his lead. I followed Brett's lead because he was a master out there.
Yeah. I like a nice 50-50 is all I'm saying, I guess.
Sure.
You know, a nice 50-50 being able to. You can't go out there and do too much ha-ha these days and just, you know, call it out there, the whole thing. It just doesn't work with the style. And these guys are such phenomenal athletes, man. Oof.
I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that now they're kind of letting the guys coming through Performance Center and NXT, giving them more freedom to kind of grow on their own and maybe come up with their own verbiage. I think I don't, you know, I might be wrong on that, but that's kind of the impression I get. And especially Shawn's going to be down there now. So
Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Hey, Pete, Shawn's moving to Orlando and is going to run the Performance Center.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's fucking. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're good.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
You'd be great down there, man.
I remember.
PJ.
Go ahead. I got a quick story for you.
Okay.
But go ahead.
All right, real quick. You have so much to offer, dude. You still have so much to offer. You talk about me being cerebral and intelligent and all that, but just people listening to you right now can tell you're just as much. And you don't. And you know, you were talking about the depression stuff earlier in that, and you know, and I have this problem too that I've really been working on. Like, you know, we get down on ourselves and we start telling ourselves that, you know, we're this or that, or we're not any good, or we're not as, you know, Peach, you know, I've talked about
I do
but I mean, it's totally just our stinking thinking, man. Like, you're great, Peach. Dude, you still have so much to offer. Anyways, back to what was your story?
No, I just remember because I literally actually cried watching the Daniel Bryan documentary about the days and the weeks leading up to his retirement, like his dad dying, and you know that whole emotion and you know all the work he's put in. I went to Sean at Rebecca's house for almost 10 days to help with his. Remember when he had the TWA Wrestling Academy?
Yes.
And I was down there with them for a while, and I got to meet him, and it was, you know, he had such a cool thing down there, you know, and I actually ended up working with Sean a little bit, and, you know, and it was such a pleasure to meet him, and it's a shame more because, you know, more guys, and I know it's a lot of, he actually had that place packed. You know, he had it on a little local TV station, you know, I know it's more work than it is reward. And I totally understand why he doesn't want to, you know, people like that of this caliber don't want to do it.
Sure.
But God, I just wish little things would start popping up. I know Booker T has his reality of wrestling. I was with Book not too long ago. And I just wish that more places had, you know, those kinds of little deals where everybody could work. You know, there's just so many free agents out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to get bookings, and it's hard to get bookings at the right price because nowadays, you know, X amount of dollars or I don't leave the house. Because you know what I'm thinking? I got to go to Philly this week to do the thing with you. My car breaks down. It's a 3.5, 4 hour drive. My car breaks down. I'm towing it. It's going to get all effed up. Then we go to West Virginia, and then we come back and do this and do that. And it's like all of this for
whatever.
Becomes,
right.
The promoters don't think of that. They're just thinking of, let's make that quick $10, $20 on that 8x10 and get the heck out of here. That's what I hate. I just wish we could form some kind of, not a union. Of course, that'll never happen, but I wish there was more like of a body of organization. And I know the NWA is a joke that doesn't exist, but I wish there was more places that could really expose backyarders for being backyarders.
And that, funny you say that, because I have a huge issue with a lot of the people that are being trained and initiated into our business that have no place whatsoever stepping inside a wrestling ring. I call them cosplayers. They're cosplayers because that's all they. I mean, they go and get their indie wrestler starter kit off of highspots.com. The plastic looking pants and the kick pads, and they're a professional wrestler, and their body looks like shit.
Terry Funk said it to me, man. He goes, "God damn it, Justin, I liked it better when the marks were on the other side of the fence."
Yes.
I've
actually told people that you're on the wrong side of the rail. Get back on the other side of the rail.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've flown literally. Last time I was in West Virginia, I flew there and I show up. It was high school. I got paid. So that wasn't a problem. They paid me what they promised me. But it was electrical, the yellow cautionary tape for railing, 10 people, all family members, and the referee had flip-flops, and the ring announcer had shorts, and it just looked like I was playing in somebody's. It should have been a birthday party.
I've seen birthday parties. I've seen birthday parties that where they bring wrestling in. That's way more professional than what you're talking about. That's one of the things, Peach. When I show up somewhere and I get my money, regardless, I'm getting my money. I get it before I get on a plane. But the thing is, when you get there, sometimes the money's just not worth it, man, for how shitty you feel about being a part of this and being in the ring with some of these guys, And it's just so, and it's embarrassing, man.
And then the one or two smart guys in the audience, and there's always one or two, will be like, "Damn, this is what Just Incredible and X-Pac can become."
Yeah. They don't know, it doesn't matter to them that I just made a pocket full of money, because the perception is wow, look at these guys.
Right.
Yep.
But it's just something I wish, and we'll never be able to, of course. I know that. But it's just something I wish we could police in a way that, unfortunately, there has been so many guys that get let go and not enough places to go. TNA is always going to be TNA. I think the fans, even though I heard Billy's doing all right over there, I still don't trust it.
I just don't trust that. I just think it's. I'm not buying
into that.
Well, I'm not buying that Dixie no longer has say-so on anything. I think that's bullshit. I'm not buying it.
You don't think Billy's really taking over?
I talked to her.
Yeah.
About 3-4 months ago, and I knew she was full of it when I said, because they have Simon Diamond, who was in ECW for like a heartbeat, and he was a decent local guy, good guy, and he's been their agent for like 10 years, and I'm like, Dixie, I have a lot more to offer, and I get it that you might have heard some things, but I'm okay. Whatever.
But that's ridiculous, though. I'm sorry. Keep going.
But she sent me to Big John. Big John don't know two drops of what about me. What am I gonna go to Big John for? You're either the boss or you ain't the boss. You can either say, you know what, Pete, you can come in and help the talent. Yeah, Dreamer told me that all the time when Dreamer was over there. Dreamer's like, you know what? I would give them these ideas that I felt were good, were building towards something. And he just, I'm not saying Dreamer's, the be all end all, but he knows it.
He knows what's up.
He managed a lot of work. He managed a lot of stuff in ECW, and I just don't even know why they don't do the old ECW runs. We used to make a ton of money hitting Queens and Poughkeepsie and Philly, and then like the War Memorial in Florida. And then like we had these spots, Pittsburgh, that you could run on a regular basis where you wouldn't even lose money, man, because those are where the real fans were. And if you built them up and went to them every 6, 7, 8 weeks, and had a quarter amount of towns like that where you can go and put on a quality product. Television to this day, I believe, I know we have social media, but television to this day is made to put people in towns, remind people that we're coming to your town. I know it's different. You don't do the promos to like the regionals we used to do.
We call them market specific promos.
Yeah, market specifics. Yeah.
What a pain in the ass those were.
But,
holy shit,
man. Those were horrible.
50, 60 of them in a row.
You do them, man. You do them. If you have to. If you're trying to make your company succeed,
sure,
you do them.
Well,
I remember being in Buffalo, New York in the freezing cold because Jason Knight couldn't get a line right. Lance and I and Dawn Marie was half naked, poor girl. We're sitting there till 4 a.m. outside Buffalo trying to get this one damn line for Buffalo for next time.
Wow. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But, man. We got to put the work in.
And on the flip side of that, as much as that sucked, at least you didn't. At least kept doing it until got it right, and didn't just take just say, okay, that'll work. No, I mean, you guys had a shoestring budget, but you got the most out of it. Let's talk a little bit about ECW, Peach, because to me, and you and I have talked about this a long time ago when we were doing when we first started XFactor, and you were telling me about your ECW run. And that's where you really gained a lot of confidence, and Paul really was confident, had a lot of faith in you, and you really shined, man. You were the fucking man there, Peach.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I mean, if you go to WWE Network and you look from '99 till the end of the company, I mean, well, this could be a good thing and a bad thing, but I main evented every show.
So it's your fault.
It's kind of it's intimidating though when Balls Mahoney, God rest his soul, and Axel Rotten, God rest his soul, they're sitting there bleeding and using chairs, and those shows at the arena were long and those fans were not forgiving. Oh, by the way, you're going on last with Jerry Lynn defending the title.
Right.
So they've seen everything.
They haven't seen, but they didn't.
We pulled it off with flying colors.
They seen everything but a hell of a match like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys just did. I mean, not that you didn't do your share of hardcore shit, Peach, but I mean,
right.
They also loved them some serious wrestling in that building too.
Yeah, they had. I mean, they had Guerrero, Malenko,
Ray.
They had Tajiri, Ray, Super Crazy,
Psychosis.
Yeah, so I mean, they had so many good guys go through there, and that's what diversified it. Fans, it was just the right place at the right time because WWF was being so cartoonish and corny, and WCW was offering the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
And real fans, and Philly was the perfect town, wanted to see Cactus Jack, or Arn Anderson was going in between gigs. From WCW to WWF, he'd stop in for a month.
Or Steve Austin.
Or whoever. Yeah, Steve Austin. He did some of the most memorable stuff ever.
I think that's where I think Steve told me that's where he found himself promo-wise. I think he told me that. I could be mistaken, and I'm sure Steve will correct me if he hears this and I'm wrong. But man, you guys were. It was great, man. Here's the thing, Pete. When I was working full time for Vince, right, and I would get home and I would look on whatever regional sports channel I could find to watch you guys. You know, I didn't.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you'd think I would be like up to here with wrestling by the time I got home off the off the road. But here I am wanting to watch some ECW.
Well, I mean, we just wanted to be whatever counterculture was.
Yeah.
Whatever was, and what helped and what people don't understand, we couldn't get away with this today, was we were playing real music. And I always thought there was a love of rock and roll or hard music, hip hop, whatever style, and you had these, it was so loud in the arenas because we had real big, DJ speakers like a club. And they're banging out like real tunes, like Alice in Chains and all these cool songs. Van Dam had Pantera, and the fans are chanting along with the song. So it's almost like a rock and wrestling done the real way. It was hip. It was hip. It wasn't kids. It was 20-something college kids who was like, F yeah, this is cool to see wrestling. And they're bleeding, they're jumping into the crowd, there's rioting going on.
And if you know anything about Philadelphia and the people of Philadelphia, that's right up their alley.
Exactly. I loved Philly. And you know what? If you could earn respect in Philly, you could pretty much earn it anywhere.
100%.
And it was just cool. It was a great moment in time. It'll never happen again. And that's too bad. And I don't mean the hardcore stuff. I mean, I can go without the hardcore stuff. But just the vibe of it itself was really neat. And Heyman is, I personally, I have no heat with him, but he's a snake. He's a very savvy. He is. He's a scumbag.
I've thought that about Paul in the past. He seems like a different cat these days, man. I'm just being honest with you.
He isn't. You want to know? I've told you this before. Remember Al Pacino in The Devil's Reject?
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember? That's him. Everybody he sees. Oh, PJ, my PJ. Turn around then to somebody else, and then, he just played the game. And that's what you got to do. He's a smart mind. He'd been around a long time, but he never shut off. Paul Heyman was Paul. Well, Paulie was Paulie all the time, and he's still Paulie. And that's why Vince can't stand Paul sometimes, and they butt heads so much. I'm not saying they don't like each other or don't respect each other. But the only thing that makes me sad, and I'll go on record because I had a conversation with Steve Austin about this recently on one of his shows, is that Paul had known that this was all going down, that it was Vince running the show for over a year. And I was making $3,000 a week. Now, mind you, that's not a lot of money.
That's a lot of money outside of
well,
WWF.
It is, but it's not XFactor, it's not DX money or NWO money. But it's good. But Sean, I was working Fridays and Saturdays, staying at home every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Old school kind of territory days. I was home every night. Maybe a Sunday we'd squeeze in. So to me, under the table. Are you kidding me? So it was great, and even Dreamer, who was giving us the please don't leave, when finally the last pay-per-view happened, I called Jim Ross, and then I was looked in, and Paul called me. I can't believe you did this to us. I can't believe you left after all I did for you. I'm like, dude. Now knowing back, I'm like, they've been running the show for over a year. Vince is just bankrolling all of this. And my wife was running merchandise. Dreamer literally had my wife have 2 envelopes. One for the loan shark. We call here in the Italian area, we call them Shylocks.
Right.
She had one for the Shylock and one for Paul Lee. She had like $50,000 in one, like $20,000 in the other,
Right.
And she's like, don't give the big one to Steve Carroll. I mean, there was some shady shit. If I'd have known, I'd have had that bitch stuck in her bra. Anyways.
Hey, the person that makes the most money in wrestling is the one that counts the money first, Peach.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be.
We were honest people, man. We never, I never took a dime.
But
Never
I mean,
took a
there's
dime.
just
You know,
there's just so many. I mean, and I'd like to think that is a thing in the past, but our industry still attracts a lot of that.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm just, I'm glad we got out of it the way we did, and I'm just glad we are where we are, because we've gone through a rough patch, and we're healthier now today. We're smarter today.
Yeah. And hey, Peach.
You know what I mean? And there's still a future.
There is. That's the thing, man. And that's the thing. I hope you realize there's a future for people like us. Like, I mean, you have so much. Even seminars, Peach. Even seminars.
Yeah.
You'd be a great seminar guy. Look, your Wrestling 101 stuff is fantastic. I don't know if people know. Have you ever seen any of that, Christy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not his specifically, but
that's all great stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's all great stuff.
Yeah. Well, I want to continue to do more of the Pro Wrestling 101s, where you could just go on YouTube and type it in onto the search bar, and it'll pop up. I have pretty much close to 40 of them, I believe, on right now. They talk about everything that has to do with their business. Well, a lot of things that have to do with their business. Main reason I don't do it anymore is because I had this young gentleman who lived in Stamford who was unemployed, and we did it in my garage. He just had all the production tools to make it look nice.
Right.
And I just don't want to put out an inferior product. And, of course, guess who he gets scooped up by? The WWE Network.
Of course.
So, yeah. But that's okay. I'm going to find someone else, and hopefully soon I'll definitely get back to doing that, because it's something I really enjoy doing, and I got a lot of it's actually a nice feeling when you get kids all around the country, all around the world, really, and just say how much they learned and enjoyed, getting little tidbits. And that's all it's about. And sometimes it's just that one little tidbit, like Steve Austin. He taught me about running the ropes, and I actually did one about running the ropes and how important it is, because so many young kids today, it's like they go to hit the ropes and they stop. Man, if this was real, you'd get pushed into those ropes. You'd hit those ropes. But the ropes are supposed to make you bounce off with velocity.
That was the concept back when people first started doing that. That was the concept.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right, Sean. So, and he mentioned that to me in one of our talks, and I did a whole episode on something as simple as running the ropes, because that stuff is very important. And if you're gonna hit them, hit them.
And one of my pet peeves on that, Peach, is you depending on the size of the ring, you should be taking no more than about 3 steps to go across the ring.
Yes.
Else you look like like one of the Flintstones when they're running driving their car and their little feet are, going on the ground.
Yep.
It's like hitting a rope. Oh my God! It's just one of my pet peeves.
That's what the Hearts always taught us. They taught us to count 1, 2, 3,
and then turn. Boom. Yep.
1, 2, 3, turn. WWE was a little harder. I just took longer steps, but it still stayed true to a similar thing, because if you're doing 4 and 5, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also, I also learned this more from you. Why you're going to bring a guy all the way to the back of the turnbuckle to shoot him across if you already have him midway a ring?
Exactly.
Mid-ring.
It's just wasted movement, and it messes up the flow of the match.
Exactly, and it makes it quickens the pace. Just little things like that I tried to address, and other little nuggets that I remember in my pea brain. So, but I really, if you guys out there listening are interested, please check it out. You'll enjoy them. At least you'll get a good laugh at how ugly my face is and big my teeth are. So,
how do they check it out, Peach?
Everybody, go to YouTube.com and just type on the search engine Pro Wrestling 101. Simple as that. A lot of people thought I was Glenn Ruth.
Really? I would never mistake. I love Glenn, but I would never mistake you for Glenn Ruth. Never. Just because you're both bald?
Hey, they got a spot, and we need to go back.
Oh, I think that was just a one-off for those guys. Hey,
I
Peach,
know.
tell me about you're back on the DDP yoga now?
Yeah, I gained a real immense amount of weight.
You don't say.
Just for more. I'm sorry?
You don't say.
What's worse for me is I look like a Samoan. I got a big ass and a big belly, so kind of like it's coming out both ways. So I'm about 295 pounds right now.
Holy
to be
shit,
honest.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I'm just being real with you. And that was a picture I took when I was at the height of my yoga. It was not. And I posted it. It's not recent.
It wasn't
but,
that
that
long ago, though, Peach. It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago. So I know I could do it. I just been doing a lot of sugars, eating a lot of things I shouldn't eat, and quite frankly, having a couple of cocktails I shouldn't be having.
Which alcohol is sugar too. It's sugar.
A lot of sugar, right? So I'm gonna start and just start hitting it hard. And Dallas actually was kind enough to send me the app, which has all this new stuff on it.
Yeah, he sent me that. He sent me that too.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Hey, Peach, can we talk a little bit about like our time as XFactor, because that was I really enjoyed the hell out of that, man.
I did too, man. I thought it was my dream come true. I thought you and I could have gone on to be, and I'll go deeper into this. You're gonna be amazed. Well, maybe not amazed, but you're gonna be interested in what I have to say. I'm coming back in. I'm coming in with my boys. This is amazing. Matt Bloom, Albert, cool dude, wrecking ball kind of guy.
Wasn't he great at his role, man? And he listened, right? He listened and he soaked it all in. Yeah.
Oh, he was such a cool dude, man. And I just figured that it was going to be something great. We could have been like that, and a lot of people have said it. We could have been that tag team, that Midnight Express style, hit 'em and run kind of team with that big heater behind us.
Sure.
When I got there, man, it just kind of, I always felt, and this is maybe in my own brain, I think I ruined my own career, because you're in ECW, I was basically running the show. I was trying to be Shawn Michaels in ECW. If somebody did something to me in a match, or if somebody screwed up a spot, I'd start yelling.
Sounds like somebody else I know.
Yeah, I would.
This guy right here.
Poughkeepsie, poor Tajiri kicked me in the face, and he really, I was out.
Oh,
dude, I came through those curtains, and I was just throwing shit all over the place, like, you motherfuckers, Oscar, sorry. Just calling him all kinds of names, and of course, it's great to watch Paul beg off, because he's so fake about it. But anyways, I just thought I was who I was, and but anyways, I was there, and I just felt like Aldo again.
Really? When you were when you were with Matt and I?
Yeah, I felt like Aldo again. I just didn't feel.
Sucks, man.
It wasn't, and nobody not only did nothing to me. I just felt like, okay, I can't do my tombstone out of respect to Mark, nor would I ever try. You just don't do that. You know what I mean? Because I had that. Mine wasn't like his. It was a spinner. It was like a corkscrew spinner. And then, even though Shawn had not come back yet, and now you see 50 super kicks a match. But back then, out of knowing what I know and respecting Shawn the way I do, I wouldn't throw a super kick. So there's two moves right out the window.
Well, you and I threw a double super kick when you came down to.
Yes.
In that one match.
Yes.
Your debut.
Yeah. But I felt that was different. It was. I don't know. I guess I felt the shadow of the intimidation of Aldo. And then Hunter's telling me, I couldn't be Justin from ECW. And then Hunter's telling me, get tights. Which I understand. He wants to make it look like a unit and like pro wrestling. And then the alliance happened right after that. You know, we didn't even get a blow-off match. You and I think I worked with Albert once.
Huh. I just,
you know
what?
Just,
here's the thing, Peach. I'm remembering all the really good shit we did. All the really good matches we were involved in. I guess I'm looking at it from a different point of view. And I remember you mentioning, you were mentioning to me one time, and forgive me if I'm telling stories out of school, but you actually said to me that you felt like you were riding my coattails one time. And you really did say that to me. And I'm like, are you crazy, Peach? Are you crazy, man? Like, you're carrying equal, dude, you're out there doing
equal share.
Ton of the work. A lot of the ideas are yours. It's just, man, I couldn't believe when I heard you say that because it was so not true.
I guess I just looked up to you so much that I didn't want to. I just wanted to keep my mouth shut. You know, I looked up to you so much. I just wanted to, you know, kind of, which was the wrong thing to do. But I remember we co-main evented Madison Square Garden with the Hardys.
Yeah,
we used to kill it with the Hardys.
Honestly, we killed it with everybody we worked with, Peach.
Yeah, the Chris's, Benoit and Jericho. We worked with them a lot. Up in Canada, we worked with Jericho and Benoit a lot. We had good matches. We had really, and even though it was a pre-show, I got to wrestle at WrestleMania. So.
Oh yeah, remember that? Remember how pissed off I was? Because they purposely did that to us.
Because you guys were on the pre-show?
Yeah. Well, I made a comment one time, like. I wanted to know who we were working with at WrestleMania, and somebody told me, "Oh, we don't know yet." And I said something like, "You mean to tell me, fucking Doink has a match at WrestleMania already, and I don't?" Well, that was the last thing I should have said because they made sure I didn't have a match at WrestleMania. We were on the card, but we were like the match right before. But we still killed it. We killed it, man. We had a hell of a match. We had a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Justin, before we let you go, I want to touch on kind of a different aspect of your life because we can hear your kids in the background. They're with you, and you mentioned your wife a couple times. She sounds like a real down chick. So what does your family think of sort of where you're at in your life right now, and do they give you advice about what to do next?
Not really. They honestly, wrestling to them is something I used to, even when I was there, they really don't care. It's amazing. My oldest son is 16, and
Nicholas.
he's he's a junior. He's gonna be graduating next year, and he does high school wrestling and amateur style, and they're just into their video games. They're superheroes and stuff like that, and they don't care about what Dad used to do. Because they never saw Dad on the main stage.
They will
either,
care.
So
they will care, Peach. I promise you that.
Yeah.
What would you say if any of your kids wanted to pursue WWE? What would you say?
Absolutely not.
Oh. All right.
Absolutely
Good
not.
to know.
Why, Peach?
Absolutely
if you
not.
don't mind me asking you.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, that might sound like a stupid question.
No, it's not.
Just because of like all of our friends that are no longer with us and that, but it sure seems to have changed now. Like, I mean, it seems like a little bit safer of a thing to let your children. It seems like a safer industry to let your children enter these days.
Oh, you can't even compare how much they've come along. I mean, it's almost like the NFL. Which is almost annoying because I hate the way they stop matches for no reason. Sometimes. Because you know how it is, dude. If somebody stopped one of our matches, they'd be stopping every match that I was ever part of.
They'd be getting my foot in their mouth.
Dude, I literally remember. You remember when Sabu, they had Bill Alfonso get the tape from the barbed wire to wrap his arm.
Yeah.
And I wrestled.
You know the story?
I wrestled.
Tell the story, man.
They were wrestling a barbed wire match, and Shane Douglas was in the corner, and Sabu ran to do a running leg lariat, into the corner. Shane was moved, and Sabu's arm got completely tore to the bicep, pretty much clean, because he ripped it all completely, probably a foot long. And instead of getting medical attention immediately, he just told Bill Alfonso to get some tape, taped himself up. And I did a similar thing when I was wrestling Shane Douglas. I still see, I'm looking at my left hand, I see the scar. I hit the guardrail. It just opened up where I saw white. I saw the inside. I just, put it up. Francine tape up my hand, and you keep going. You never call a match like that, I'd kill somebody.
Yeah.
Do it for their best interest, and,
Yeah, well, that's kind of why they have to do it, because if you leave it up to us, we'll go until we're dead. Once we're out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that regard, it has to be up to them. It's just like back in the day, I remember Tony Gurria asking one of the guys, so, hey, it's your call. Are you okay to do it? And I got pissed, Peach. I said, God damn it, Tony. It's not his fucking call. Because if you ask anybody in this locker room if they're good to go, they could be on their fucking deathbed and they're still going to tell you they're good to go. So it can't be their call. I was that pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. We'll always go out there no matter what.
I was just going to call for the end of this podcast, but I'm afraid now.
Peach, you were talking about yelling at people in the ring. I was notorious, and I still do. I'm so fucking bad at that now, Peach. Still. Well, because a lot of the guys I'm in there with are so green. So, I mean, you know how I was back then, what guys that knew what they were doing, relatively speaking. Imagine how I am in the ring now with guys that are just kind of pretty much clueless.
Oh, I one time I lost my mind. I was wrestling for Combat Zone Wrestling, CZW, and I did this. It's the thing I do all the time, where I slide, going for a baseball slide. I miss it. I nut myself. And this little 120-pound kid comes running in and hits me literally, or flat foot kicks me as hard as he can, right in the face, unprotected. I mean, like, as hard as he can. Jesus. Like, there's extension. I literally stopped selling, dove at him, ran him around the ring till he fucking tagged out, and then slammed me, and then slammed the other guy on top of me. I moved out of the way. I said, fuck you. I'm going to kick that fucking prick's ass when he gets to the back. just like a complete, no sell of everything.
And, dude, Peach, if I saw you that mad, I'd be scared, honestly, dude, because you're just the most mild-mannered cat going. So if somebody gets you that pissed off, I honestly would head the other way.
Passive aggressive.
Well, that's me
I wouldn't
too.
mess with it.
That's why you and I are a lot alike, man. We are, dude. We really are when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, Peach, man, there's still so much out here that you can offer, and that it can offer you, man. Like, people are doing seminars now. There's a whole new cottage industry of just going around doing seminars. I just don't like doing them. It's the only reason I don't do them. You'd be great at it. You'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
man.
I've done a couple. I just in the New York area too, as you've learned now. You're still in Philadelphia, John?
I'm in LA now.
Are you still? Oh, you're in LA now.
Yeah. Well, I'm bi-coastal, but I'm I'm mostly in LA.
Yeah, you're going back. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, over here, it's just so many guys to choose from. That if one guy says, it's hard to get a decent price. Put it that way. It becomes more about the financials.
Sure.
Because I've done quite a few. I've done them in Vegas, and I did very well. Actually, I've done them in New York, done well. But you know what I literally had to do once, and this is what I mean about the business. At a practice, not even a match, at just a wrestling training workout, Some kids paid me $250 to work out with them, like have a fake match in the ring with them.
Wow. Yeah.
Not even in front of people.
Yeah, and
that's you know, and it's cool, whatever. But there's just in the West Coast, there's just a lot. It takes, and two, social media, I think, really has clogged. It's clogged like our feeds. Like every time you see a poster, and I look at these posters, I don't know who these people are, so I stop paying attention to the posters. I end up looking at sports scores or something like that, or porn if I have to. Whatever.
If you have to.
Sometimes it just pops up.
Yeah, but
Sometimes
anyway,
it just pops up.
I think there's just way too much product for the demand. I think that's the problem.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Too many in already. Like the terrorists are already in the country.
Yeah.
We let too many of them in. We let too many in already, and we have to now start eradicating them in ways where we just don't book them. And real promoters, got to smarten up and just book the proper people.
Interesting way
to get it down to them. That's true. I think it's true, man.
And you're like, I agree with you about it being, there's just being a glut of product out there. I just think that a good product will always do okay. I'd like to think that.
Oh yeah, the stuff they're doing out in LA, that PWG is amazing. They're doing great stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. I couldn't do that stuff, but God bless them, man. They're kicking butt and they're drawing. One night after another. We need places like that in all good wrestling cities. It doesn't have to be a mirror that, but different styles, different places, and get good followings. We don't need to have promoters are guilty of it too, where they will, want to be rivals, and it's a small town of 1,000 people, and they'll have two promotions running on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Well, Justin,
that stuff's got to stop.
If you do come to LA to check out PWG, make sure you come on back on the show. We'll have you in studio, and we'll catch up with you again.
Yeah, and if you're ever in LA, I would gladly shoot your Pro Wrestling 101 videos.
Yeah, my producer Jimbo Slice is he can do that stuff. He's great at it.
Hey man, it'd be a pleasure. It'd be my honor. I'd be there in a second. So, anytime, guys. Anytime.
Hey, Peach, how can people find you on social media and all that stuff?
Well, mostly these days, I'm a Twitter guy. So Twitter at PJ Polaco, Polaco. Instagram, the same thing, PJ Polaco. And my website, thejustincredible.com. And, of course, my YouTube channel, Pro Wrestling 101. My email for bookings is on my Twitter handle, my profile page. I'm very easy to get to. So, and I respond back to everybody with intelligent questions. So hit me up if you just want to chat. I'm always here. And, God, guys, thank you so much. It's an honor always to talk to one of the greatest of all time, Sean Waltman. And how I feel about you.
I love you, man.
I feel very strongly about you.
Hey, Peach, I love you very much, man. And I can't wait to see you on Saturday on our way to Ransom, West Virginia.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's going to be awesome. We're going to have a good time.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you
so
Thank
much,
you so
Justin.
much.
We'll let you get back to the fam. There they are.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I felt like a fly on the wall for that one.
You felt like a fly on the wall for the last one, too.
I don't even
Good
need to be
thing I don't
here
have
almost.
a fly swatter with me.
Seriously. But I love to hear about you guys, your time at ECW. And, man, he didn't hold back on his opinion on a lot of things, which I can really appreciate.
Yeah, I was, and he has his reasons for that. I have different experiences with people, and but I totally respect what he has to say on those things.
Well, he gave you a lot of praise too, and called you kind of a mentor, even though he's only a couple years younger than you. How does it feel to hear that?
Oh, I don't know, Christy. Obviously it doesn't suck to hear that.
Right.
You know, so let's just leave it at that.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this week on X-Pac 12360. To check out all of our episodes and to see who's going to be on the show next week, make sure you like our Facebook page at facebook.com/X-Pac12360 show. You can always follow me at Christy Reports and hit me up if you've got any scoop. You know I love the news. I am your AfterBuzz TV managing editor and chief correspondent of our pro wrestling news division. This has been X-Pac 360. Where can they check you out at online, Sean?
Oh, on Twitter, I'm like just
tweeter.
incredible. I just rocked the Twitter, and it's at the real X-Pac.
All right.
Yes.
Well, follow that, and we will see you all next week for another episode of X-Pac 12360.
Yeah, follow that.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Phil Svitek, Keven Undergaro, producer Jimbo Frank, me, Christy Olson, the managing editor of AfterBuzz TV's Pro Wrestling News Division, and the entire X-Pac 12360 staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in. Feel free to like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube, follow X-Pac on Twitter at TheRealXpac, and email us at xpac12360show@gmail.com. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV network. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.